Hello, good people. My name is Richard Abredu Eje. I'm going to take you through public sector accounting and finance. Specifically, we are going to touch on the budget cycle. Just before we touch on the budget cycle, as mentioned, I would like to say that the budget is a requirement enshrined in the 1992 Constitution. So specifically, the Article 179 stipulates that at least 1 month before the end of the year, the president causes to be prepared and presented a budget, of the following year. So it's a mandate, it's a requirement on the president to prepare and present a budget. So we will walk through the process and how the president delegates some responsible officers like the Minister of Finance to engage in the budget preparation. So I'm going to take you through. There are 4 major stages of the budget process. The first one we're going to talk about formulation stage. Second one is authorization and approval. Then a third stage is what? The implementation stage. Then the final stage is monitoring and evaluation. So it moves from the first stage to the second stage, where is authorization and approval, then to implementation, then to monitoring and evaluation, then again the cycle starts. So I will take my time to work with you the details of each stage of the budget cycle. So to begin with is the formulation. What happens at the formulation stage? Now, let me just touch on the fact that the PFM Act, that is the Public Financial Management Act, Act 921, guides us through how the budget should be prepared and presented. So somewhere around, I think, section 15, it talks about the first aspect of the budget, which is the formulation, where the Minister of Finance prepares the fiscal strategy document. The Minister of Finance prepares the fiscal strategy document and submits to Cabinet. So Cabinet goes through the fiscal strategy document and approves it. So once the fiscal strategy document is approved, the Minister of Finance then go ahead to issue the budget guidelines to the various covered entities. So the budget guidelines actually gives or guides the various covered entities as to how they should go about in their estimates. So the various covered entities also go ahead to put their estimates together and then again go back and forward the estimates to the Minister of Finance. So the Minister of Finance would now do what we call consolidation of the budgets, consolidation of the budget estimates. So once the budget estimates are kept together, then it will be forwarded to Cabinet. So that is where Cabinet will go through, make assessments of the estimates, and then authorize the budget estimate. So after the formulation that has just been described, we talk about authorization of the budget estimate. So once the budget estimate has been authorized, it will now be prepared or transformed to be presented to Parliament. So let's learn something critical here. Now, the budget, when the budget estimate has 2 sides, that is the revenue side and as for the expenditure side. So the revenue side is now transformed to become the finance bill. So let me emphasize on the fact that Parliament is a lawmaking institution. So whatever document that comes to them to be passed to become a law is actually in the form of a bill. So with emphasis, we say that the revenue side of the estimate becomes finance bill. So the finance bill is actually the revenue side of the estimate, that is before Parliament pending approval. Then the expenditure side becomes the appropriation bill. Okay, so the appropriation bill is laid before Parliament for approval. So now, when Parliament approves it after the hearings or going through the estimate, the finance side becomes what? Finance bill. Whereas the finance side after the approval becomes what? Finance act. But before the approval, it is finance bill. So the expenditure estimate also is appropriation bill before approval. But when anytime it is approved or after the approval, it becomes an appropriation act. So it is important to note this terminology: the finance bill, the finance act, the appropriation bill, and the appropriation act. So we say that when the estimates are presented before Parliament goes through hearings, various categories of or various stages of hearings, and then finally they approve the budget estimate. So before it moves to the implementation stage, we have what we call warrants. The Minister of Finance, issues what we call warrants. So the warrant is actually a formal communication to the various covered entities that the Minister of Finance uses to communicate his intention or his authorization for them to spend. Okay, so once the warrant is being issued, then it moves to the implementation stage. Under the implementation stage, we can talk about execution. That is where the various covered entities go ahead to execute what has been stipulated or approved in the budget. So after the execution, it is also important to account and report on what have been executed in the budget. So all those responsible officers for the various covered entities would then make it a point to report on the things that have been spent or executed in the budget. So after the implementation stage, then we move to the monitoring and evaluation. So with the monitoring and evaluation, that is where the Auditor General comes in, or the audit service comes in. The Auditor General audits all the accounts of the various covered entities. Then, after the accounts have been audited, they submit a report to Parliament. Okay, so once Parliament receives the report, Parliament will now form a committee, that is the Public Accounts Committee, to investigate whatever misappropriation or infractions that have been stated in the report of the Auditor General. So kindly note that Parliament plays a very major role in our public financial management because they are the representatives of the people. So if you look at the cycle, Parliament plays a major role in the approval of the budget, and in addition, when it comes to the monetary evaluation, they serve as a very key players in monetary evaluation, because any work that is done by the Auditor General is submitted to Parliament for action to be taken place. So let's take note of all the cycles, and it's very important. So let's go through again. Formulation, which is the first stage. Then after formulation, we move to authorization and approval. Then just after the authorization approval, where warrants will be issued, we move to the implementation. Then after implementation, we look at the monitoring and the evaluation. So let's take note that the monitoring and evaluation wouldn't have to necessarily end before another cycle of formulation will start. Okay, so one major principle of the budget is the annuality principle. Each year there should be a preparation of budget. So before the monitoring and evaluation will end, another cycle of formulation, which is the first stage, starts. Okay, so thank you very much. We are going to end here, and I will entreat you to subscribe to the channel, because we are going to release more videos that will help you as you prepare towards your examination. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful moment. Bye bye.